All right. So we are live again here tonight, and guess I'll just wait for some people to roll in. But I got the. Hey, what's up, guys? There we go. Got a couple people rolling in. Yeah, so I think I got the orientation fixed on my phone. It should be horizontal now, which it looks like on my end everything's good. So hopefully you should be able to see everything better this time. But yeah, sorry. I mean, I put up a community post saying it was going to be delayed tonight because we got snow coming tomorrow, and I had to go to the gym tonight instead of tomorrow because I probably won't be leaving my shop tomorrow. And I got home a little bit late, but we're here. So I said I was going to do it, and we're still going to do it tonight. So, all right. Where we left off yesterday or Monday was the cam chain is basically impossible to get out of here because of this casting that they have right here. And I looked up in the service manual, and what the service manual says in order to remove the timing chain, you have to split the cases. Right here and right here, you can see the seams on the case. So basically tear the whole motor apart for a valve adjustment, which we're not going to do that. And I was watching, I found a couple other resources, and basically it looks like you can just take, once you get the camshafts loose, there should be enough slack here to just wiggle the camshaft and the sprocket out and just leave the chain there. And we got our marks still, so we should be good to line everything up. But there's so little clearance here, I don't think that's even going to be a problem. And I saw in one video, some stunt guys on a 636 had cut this piece off so that they could get the chain out. But yeah, so we're just going to get to it now. And I'm actually going to lower the lift down just a hair so it can be, so I can work on it a little better. I need to get something here to set the phone up on. I'm gonna have to find something, maybe this. We're a professional show, I promise. Oh, come on, flip around, there we go. Here we go. Maybe you can kind of see everything right there. Sweet.
I don't know if you can hear me over the air compressor, but this lift is a little bit old and it's pneumatic, and sometimes it leaks a little bit, the seals. So I'm going to have to give it just a second. This thing is such an old piece of shit. I need to get a new air compressor. See, it's not wanting to go. God damn. I'm gonna let that thing go until it gets back up to 120. But good God. All right. So sorry about that. Some of the seals in this compressor leak. It's old. It's from the 80s. So anyway, now that we got it to a level we can work on, these are the cam caps. This is one assembly, and this is one assembly here. And we're going to go ahead and take the bolts loose. But the way that you want to do it in a star pattern to make sure it unclamps evenly. And there's a specific procedure in the service manual, of course, but I've been doing this long enough. It's just as long as you do it in an even pattern, starting from the outside and working your way in, you should be good. And then, of course, when you're tightening it back down, you start from the inside and work your way out. But we're going to take this one off here first, and then we're going to loosen these in an even order. So let me get the phone. That's not very good. Let's try putting it back up under here. Okay, 1 second. Use that trusty radiator cap again. There we go. You can see some of what's going on there. Okay, right there. These are 5 millimeter, I believe, possibly 6. Yes, it's 5 millimeter. And I don't know if Pitchfork is in here or not, but he was gonna have to do this pretty soon on his ZX6R, and I found a very good tutorial where the guy edited it all down into a nice little video. So Pitchfork, if you're listening to this later, I will link that to you in the comments of this video. Does removing the cam chain tensioner not give enough slack? No, it doesn't. But what we're going to do, yeah, I guess you weren't here in the beginning. I'll just say briefly. Damn it. You got to split the case to get the timing chain off of the crankshaft. So we're not going to do that. And I saw a video, that tutorial that I was mentioning that I'll link to you about the valve adjustment on a ZX6R. He left the cam chain on the crankshaft. Oh, okay, you've been here. Yeah, he left the cam chain on the crankshaft and was able to sneak the camshafts out. So that's what we're going to try here. And we got all of our marks on everything, so you don't have to worry about losing our spot. And when you get these Allens, when you push them in here, I don't want to move the camera. There's going to be oil in the there's going to be oil in the top of them, and the Allen is not going to want to go into it. So just make sure that you get you push it in real good, and you'll see the oil squeeze out, so that you get a good seat of the Allen head going in to the top of the bolt head, and that way you won't strip it out. But you're a seasoned mechanic, I'm sure you know all that. All right, so that one's loose. We already took this this top guide piece off yesterday, and that has some of the bolts for this cap here, but so it's loose now. I'm just going to work it evenly. Should come off. There we go, just like that. So we got that off. And now I got a bunch of tools here. I got to move them. We're going to make sure we set this stuff in order that it came off. So I got to move some of these tools up to my toolbox real quick. Is the music too loud in the background? I left it where it was last stream. I left my stereo settings, so hopefully it shouldn't be too loud. Move my toolbox around over on this side here. Is Goat in here? Here's my emotional support animal. Thanks, Goat. I appreciate it. So I'm on your stream right now. Right now we're taking the cam bearing caps off. And so we're going to start on the outside up on this one here. That one loose. That one loose. This is on one side of the cam assembly. And then we're going to go to this one back here. Do the same thing. Make sure you get it socket seated fully in the head of the bolt so you don't strip it out. We're going to go back over here. Right there. I can't quite see the chat too much because the way it is on my phone, it'll pop up for a second and then go away. So if there's something y'all want me to answer, I'll try just try to type it in again real quick if you can, and I'll try to watch it as I'm doing this and answer a question. And so we got all four on the outside loose. Now we're going to go to the inside here. Okay, that's all the bolts loose. They're cracked loose, so now we're going to run them out fully. And I should have a 1/2-inch wobble socket. There it is. Got our trusty 1/2-inch wobble socket here. Our 5mm socket, 5mm Allen socket. We're going to leave the bolts in the positions where they are. Everything groovy. What was that last comment, Pitchfork? It just disappeared on me. I wish my phone didn't do that. I wish it, maybe that's a setting I can change. Maybe I can change the comments to stay up. Oh, there you go. You see those cams pop up? I wonder if this, yeah, when they put a new when you put a new comment up, it flashes up on my screen for a second and then it goes away because I don't have. Ooh, okay, so a little too much tension on that one, so we're gonna go back out by hand here. So now the cams are starting to come up. Actually, I'm gonna tighten one of these other ones back down a little bit so that it goes down fully evenly. Go. I'm just gonna kind of work these a little bit at a time. I don't know, maybe it's a setting that I can change on the phone for that. I wonder if this kind of live streaming is a format that like people would enjoy watching if I did something like this on a regular basis. If I got big enough to make a little bit of money on it, I don't know if it's something that people in general would be interested in watching, just working on stuff in general. So, okay. Okay, let me show you this here. I need to find something permanent for that. Okay. So it's up there. So it's a little bit uneven there. So we're going to try to work that back and forth because it's more up on the inside than the outside. going to put... There we go. Put that there. That'll hold that a little bit better. So I'm just going to get... You don't want to pry on the bearing surfaces. Just... Yeah, I think that might be kind of jammed, so I'm going to have to tighten this back down over here just a little bit. There we go. Pop out like that. That's not ideal. You want it to come up a little bit smoother than that. So we're going to have to do the same thing on this side. Take this down just a hair. Just a little bit of time on either side. There we go. Okay. All right, so we got the caps loose, and we're going to pull them off now. So got a couple bolts I tightened back in down over here. Golly. These things are... Okay, this one back here is a little bit more loose. Pull that one up. And you want to make sure you keep your orientation. And these are labeled left and right. But this side over here is kind of tight. So we're going to give it just a little tiny bit of persuasion. Be careful not to pry on any bearing surfaces. Ooh, it's coming up quite a bit. This side over here. Because it's... There we go. Ideally, you don't want to... Ideally, we would have the chain off of these. I think that's why there was so much tension there, is because normally the chain is supposed to be off. But because of this design, we can't do that. So... Here we go. Keep them in order. We got left and right. Keep them in the exact orientation they came off, just so there's no confusion later. Something that I always like to do. And I'm trying to set this a little better so that the phone stays up. There we go. All right. The camshafts are loose now. I'm trying to be able to see the sprockets there. All right, so there we go. Look at that. I think it should be coming out. Can work it. Get the chain off. Okay, here we go. Just like that. That's one cam out. And that's the forward cam, so we're going to put it up on the other side. There. Back here. chain. We already ground our marks in the chain, so we know where it goes, so we're not worried about that. And there we are. So we keep that stuff in the exact orientation it came off. And I want to take a little closer look at this because it said, that was tripping me out. Let's see if I can turn my, I don't know, can I turn my flash on? There we go. Okay, never mind. So, intake, exhaust. I guess that's just the orientation for where you take it off. So these sprockets can go on either way. They just depends how you orient it. So the motor's probably not at top dead center right now where I took it off, but that doesn't really matter. I've got the marks exactly where the chain came off, so we know exactly how it'll go back on, so we'll be good. Ideally, it would be at top dead center, but we'll be okay. I've done it that way before. So now we're going to take a look in here at our cam bearing journals. And these are the actual bearings. There's no bearings that come out. It's just machined into the head. So if your bearings get torn up, unfortunately, you got to replace the head and the caps. We'll take a look at this here. So there's some light scuffing. Don't want to lose orientation, so it was like that. But you just want to take your finger, run your finger across it, feel smooth, run your fingernail across it, see if you feel anything. I feel just a little bit, but it's not catching my fingernail. I can feel it, but it's not catching it. If you have scratching that catches your fingernail, that's worrisome. But on an older bike like this, you're probably just going to put it back together and run it. Honestly, if it's doing okay, there's really no point in going through all the hassle of replacing the head and all that stuff, because all that stuff is machined to match each other. So if you have noise, you have a problem with it running, that's a different circumstance. But if it's all running all good, you're fine. So I'll show you over here on the Ranchero's engine. These are the kind of bearings that you actually take that actually come out. And these are on the rods, pistons. You can see them in there, how they clamp in. But this is standard procedure on just about every overhead cam, is the bearing surfaces are machined into the head and the cam caps. All right. So now we have everything taken apart. We've got our handy tray here. Although I could just take everything off and put it underneath there, but I prefer not to do that because when we get the shims out, I like to have a separate workspace for that, because you're going to be doing a lot of measuring and things like that. And this is more of a workspace right here. This is specifically for that. So I try not to get those two things mixed up. And one thing I did want to note is all these gaskets are old, and these O-rings under here, I'm going to want to replace all of those. But if you can't get them, something you can do is you clean those O-rings up real well, and you can use a Hylomar sealant or stuff like this. Is my flash still on? Anaerobic flange sealer. This is sealer that's used for surfaces that are machined to a very tight tolerance. and basically it cures in the absence of air. So it's a lot easier to clean off. But anyway, that's how it works. So if you got some old O-rings that you can't find or they're really expensive, you can clean them up real good and put that coat the O-rings in that flange sealer, and it'll seal up real good. I've had to do that quite a bit. It's just something to keep in mind. But anyway, so we're going to move this up here, and we're going to start pulling our buckets out now. And these are the buckets here. There's a shim underneath each one of these, and this is where the cam rides to push this down. And that shim that's underneath the bucket determines your valve lash measurement. I wonder if I could put this camera somewhere where, I don't know. I'll just leave it right there for now. And I gotta get a magnet. Magnet right here. Make sure it's clean as you can get it. Just gonna pull these up like that. And then be careful not to lose the shim. Ooh. There's your shim. It's going to be stuck underneath there, but sometimes they fall out, so be careful. And then we're going to take them and we're going to put them in. Thanks for showing this. No problem, Jack A. I'm actually going to link the edited down tutorial that I found of doing a ZX6R valve adjustment. It's an old video series. It's like 13 years old, but it's very good. And it's on a 2007, 2008 ZX6R. It's like a 4-part series, but the guy did a very good job on it. So I'm going to link that in here so you don't have to watch fucking however many hours this is. But you're just going to lay them out one by one there. So it's you know, some people will call me OCD for doing this the way I do it, but excuse me. I just like to make absolutely certain that I don't lose the position of anything, because if you lose the position that this stuff is in, you're kind of screwed. Each one of these you pull out, you're going to look underneath it and make sure the shim is still there, and then you're going to set it upside down. Oh, see there? I missed one. I got that one in the wrong spot. So here we go. Okay, there we go. That's different than Toyota. The shims sit on top of the buckets and go against the can. Oh, that's interesting. I haven't had a Toyota. I haven't had a Toyota apart to do a valve adjustment. I've worked a lot. I mean, I work on Infinities, and I've taken this stuff apart. I've never actually had to change the valve shims on an Infinity, but it's like the exact same design as this. But to my knowledge, all the Japanese sport bikes are this design so far that I've seen. Yeah, you definitely want to keep everything in the same location. Excuse me, guys. Oof. And you can use any kind of magnet for this. It's just this is the one that was easiest to grab at the moment. Oh, sometimes they get a little stuck in there and you got to wiggle them. Now, sometimes, okay, there we go. Sometimes you get them that are really stuck. They get locked in there with oil suction. Gotta give them the fandangle. Give them the angle of the fandangle. Okay, so that's all the shim buckets out. Just check, make sure nothing dropped. Yeah, I gotta clean my hands, got oil all over them. There we go. And these are the actual valves. So there's the valve spring. That piece in the center, that's the actual valve stem. And those two little half moons on the outside, those are the retainers. And basically these things just wedge together. So if you're going to take them apart, there's a special tool to hold the valve from the other side, and it'll push. This is the retainer here. The keepers are inside. It'll push down on the retainer, this outside piece, and then you'll see it go down, and then the stem will rise up, and then you just pull the keepers off either side, and then the spring comes off. I'm going to see here if I can take a look at the chat, how this works. This is good. I'm subscribed. That's a pretty extensive amount of work for placing cam bucket shims. Geez, yeah, and supposedly they say do every 15,000 miles, but from what I've seen, oh, how did my camera go upside down? What the fuck? All right, let me see if I can fix this real quick. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Oh my god, this is annoying. There we go. Gosh, fixed itself. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I'm just checking the chat here real quick. Will you do cam chain tensioner when you're doing the service? I have the cam chain out, or the tensioner out. It's right here. I may put, this is it right here. I may put a manual tensioner in while I have it out. We'll have to see. It's kind of tight in there. We'll have to see what kind of clearance I have. But anyway, so what was I doing? Okay. So you can see here, front of the bike. See how we got everything oriented. So let me jack this thing up. And I'm going to get my stool. Oh, it's over here. What were you saying about the mileage? Oh, sorry. The maintenance interval in North America is 15,000 miles. Thereabouts for all these bikes. Some of the Hondas are 16.5. But if you look in the service interval for the rest of the world, it's like 26,000 miles. And you think, why is that? Well, I think it's just a marketing thing. North America has more money and they can pay more, so it's more of a thing to get service for the dealerships and everything. Most of the time I hear of people doing these valve adjustments on these bikes at 15,000, they go in there and they check them and everything's good. And a lot of times our local motorcycle shop here, A&R, they say like, yeah, don't really do it until 26, because they really don't need adjusted until about 26,000 miles. So that's kind of how I'm gonna proceed. I mean, this bike has 35,000 miles on it. Supposedly the engine was replaced at 13,000. So that's like 23,000. But who knows? I could have been lied to. It's possible that it wasn't replaced. For 2009, service manual states 24,000 miles. Unfortunately, I'm there. Yeah, Pitchfork, I would recommend going ahead and doing the valve adjustment then if you're there. It's definitely probably going to need it. All right, so let me get my micrometer. And I'll take you guys with me because I need to get my good micrometer for this one. I got my stuff scattered across different there's my good micrometer. Hopefully the battery in it's good. There we go. Yeah, I just replaced it. I just replaced the battery not too long ago, so we're all good there. Take this with me. Shop looks very immaculate. Thanks, Pitchfork. Yeah, I'm very anal about keeping my shop clean. I've been working in here since early 2021. So what is that, 4 years now? Yeah, I get, you can ask Maddie because she knows. I see dirt in here and I start sweeping immediately. All right, so we have, all right, so you're just gonna take your shim bucket. That through a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna scoop all this stuff up just a hair. Now comes the tedious part. You measure and then do the math to find the difference to put a different shim in. Yes. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. We have that. Shop manual has all these different size shims. Yeah, so sometimes, depending on what the measurements are, you can change shims around, but you're going to have to order them. And unfortunately, they only come in like different measurements of, I forget what it is. They don't come in as precise measurements as you pull them out. So, but you can typically get them within spec. And these will have, can you see that? They will have a number on them, but typically they're going to be worn. And that's going to be in millimeters. And we're probably going to, my feeler gauges are in thousandths of an inch. Oh, wait, no, I can see it. That one says 175. So that should be 1.75 millimeters. I'm going to verify that. So that one says 175. And then, what is it? 25.4 millimeters in an inch. So can I? I can do it. I've got my other phone over here, the calculator on it. I'm gonna have to pull the music, but whatever. So, okay. 0.006 times 25.4. So there's 25.4 millimeters in an inch. So this one says 0.152 millimeters, but it says 175. Is that right? Am I fucking doing that math right? I think I just okay, sorry, did that wrong. I'm just gonna measure it right here. Yeah, so there we go. It says 175 on this shim, and I just measured it 1.74, so close enough. So that's a 175 shim. So that's 1.75 millimeters. And it might actually be easier just to do this all in millimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert. I'm going to convert the thousandths of an inch measurement to millimeters. But first, I'm going to look at all of these shim buckets and see what they say and write them down. Seven, 8. Where your feeler gauges in inches. My feeler gauges are in inches and millimeters, and I probably should have written it down in millimeters. But I just didn't because I'm used to doing things in thousandths of an inch. So I will remember for the next valve adjustment, next time I do one, just to do it in millimeters, because all this, we're working on Japanese bikes. It's all metric. And some of these you'll have to turn them upside down. See, that one says, oh shit. That one says 172. So that I had to turn that one upside down to get it. So I'm going to measure this. So sometimes the numbers are going to be worn off on these, so you'll actually have to measure it. And it'll be close enough. And you know what? This micrometer might be losing its calibration. Okay, yeah, that's 178. I might need to junk this micrometer. I have a different one. I have another one from Harbor Freight. Because this one seems to like not want to hold its calibration very good. I have to zero it almost every time I move it. It says 180. And I will show you all in just a second, once I get all of these numbers, what I was talking about in the increments that the shims come in from the factory versus versus what you can order from the dealer or for whatever supplier to do your adjustment. I will show you in just a second once I get all these written down. The shims you can switch around, but not the buckets. Yes, correct. Do not switch the buckets around, but you can switch the shims around, because those buckets by now are going to be worn and mated together with the camshaft. Okay. Yeah, see, this one's completely, is it? This one's completely worn down. I can't really read it. I think I can barely make out 172, but I'm gonna double check that. Yep, 172. So yeah, just for a clarification, when you do your feeler gauges, just do it in millimeters, because you're going to end up having to convert like I did. And it's fine, you can do that. It's just an extra step. You just, if you have it in thousandths of an inch, you just multiply it by 25.4. Because there's 25.4 millimeters in an inch. And there's also calculators on Google. There we go. And I'm going to verify this one because this number's kind of one off here. Yeah, it's 178. Yeah, so this isn't going to be edited down, but you can kind of see the raw procedure and how time consuming this is. Yeah, man, this micrometer's about done. In fact, I'm gonna just grab my other micrometer. My Harbor Freight micrometer is better than my good Cornwall micrometer, but that one's been old and abused. Seven. What the fuck? Maybe not. Maybe it's not. This one's not as good either, but 7.5. I'm gonna have to go buy another good micrometer. I may just remeasure these later. And actually, it's probably going to be good to measure these individually because they are going to wear a little bit. Then you get inaccuracies with the micrometer. Fucking sucks about this shit. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, so I got all those. This is our valve lash. This is our valve lash measurement. And basically, you can just go ahead and put a point on each one of those, because that's millimeters. When it says 175, that's 1.75 millimeters is what that is. So now I get to do the conversion from my thousandths of an inch on all of these. If I'd done it in millimeters originally, that would have made it a lot easier. but I didn't. And we're gonna just round on these. So say 5. Am I doing that right? 25.4 million. Yeah, that's right. Okay. 25.24. All right. 0.007 times 25.4. That is 0.1778. 0.1524. 0.1524. 0.005 times 25.4. That's 0.127. 0.004. Yeah, this is the tedious part of the procedure. But a lot of these measurements are going to be the same. So once you take the measurements, you can kind of just look. You have what they are. 1016. Or once you do the conversion, you have it written down for one. So a lot of them are going to be the same measurement. So you can just look at what you already got. 1016. One that's 0.003. 0762. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to box these off so that doesn't confuse me, because this is the original measurement in thousandths of an inch. So I'm just going to box all these off real quick. So visually, it's not a distraction, because I'm a very visual person. That's how I work. And if I don't have it boxed off, it will distract me. I need a better pen. I need to get more pens for my shop. I've basically been using just whatever pens I got for free for years. All right. So I need to look up what the spec of the valve lash is. And shit, I have that on my phone, but I have Wi-Fi. I have it connected here to my old phone. So I'm gonna look up, see if I can get the service manual, download it, and look it up real quick. 2007 ZX6R service manual. You can find PDFs of these service manuals quite easily. There we go. Internet Archive has it. Okay, and it was in section 5. It was valve adjustments. So we're going to scroll down to section 5. Find it here. Yeah, I think I found a lot of the service manuals for my bikes on Internet Archive. Okay, there we go. We're at top end now. And the service manual has the valve specs here. Okay. valve clearance, exhaust. Okay, and we're going to write this down here. The valve clearance for the exhaust, and we're going to do this in millimeters again because that's what we're working with. 0.024, or no, 0.24 to 0.31 millimeters is the spec for the exhaust. And the spec for the intake is 0.13 to 0.19 millimeters. Okay. So that right there, that's our spec. That's our measurement that we measured on the bike for what the valve clearance is. So you can see it's clearly out of spec. It's too tight. And that's what happens as these wear, the clearance gets too tight because the valve seats wear. Basically, the valve seats wear, and then as the valve seats wear, the valve comes up closer to the cam, and then eventually, if you let it go long enough, you'll be at a zero clearance, and it'll start to flatten out the cam lobe. That's why we do the adjustment. So what you do to increase the valve clearance is you replace it with a thinner shim to get your clearance back to spec. So now that we have what our specification should be and what we have our actual clearance is, ideally you want to get it to the maximum clearance. That way you have longer on the valve adjustment, if that makes sense. So because the looser you get it, the longer you're going to have for that seat to wear and get tighter, so you won't have to do the valve adjustment as soon. But what I was talking about before, and I forgot to say it, so you see here our buckets. We have the shims. Let's see, 175, 180, 172. There was like a 182. So 172, 178, 182. When you order the replacement shims, they only come in increments of 5. So that's what I was saying. If you have a shim that will work for another one, you can swap them around if they're close. But I think these are going to be, I may be able to swap some of these around. I'll have to see what I come up with after I do all the calculations. But if you have to order a shim, it's going to be in an increment of 5, and you're just going to have to get it as close as you can. That's why there's a range, a specification that you can get it within. So what I'm going to do is I'll take a minimum and a maximum. Let me see, think here. So I'm trying to make sure I'm doing this right. So I'm live streaming this, and I'm trying to do our. So let me do this here, right here. We're just going to look at this first one right here. 1.7. Let's do 1.75 plus 0.1524. Yeah, so it's out of spec, right? Of course, that would be out of spec. So you want to Sorry, give me just a second. I'm trying to think on this. Said I don't want to say the wrong thing. So give me just 1 second. Okay, right. So we have our clearance here, and this is what it's supposed to be. So you're going to subtract this. Is that right? 1.9 minus. Yes. You're going to subtract your clearance from your minimum and your maximum. And then that's going to give you the range of shim that you can get. So, okay. So we're going to do 0.24 minus, and we're just going to round because that's how you have to do it. 0.24 minus 0.152. And that comes up with 0.088, but that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right. Or you can just add. Yeah. See, the problem is I'm live streaming this right now, trying to figure out which one to add and subtract, and it's screwing me up. I can't really think very good on it. So give me just a second. I'm gonna mess around with these numbers here. Make sure I'm doing the right thing. I promise I did this before. I did it on my buddy's Gixxer and I got it in spec. It's just. Yeah. So. No, that should be right. Yes. No, that was right what I said. Yeah. You want to subtract. Yeah, so if I did. So if I did 0.24 minus the current measurement, which is 0.152, it's a 0.08 shim. But that's like almost half. But then again, it's our measurement. Our measurement isn't quite half of what it should be. But 0.152 plus 1.75 equals 1.9 I'm not doing this right because I'm just not thinking. I'm just not thinking about it correctly because I'm friggin' live streaming and I got that in my head right now. Um, so yeah. Let me just look real quick. And it's also hard for me right now because exactly pitchfork. That's what I'm doing. I'm freaking. I'm so used to thinking in standard with these measurements. That's why it's fucking with me. I can't. That's why it's screwing with me because I'm trying to. It's hard to convert over with doing these valve lash measurements. I'm used to doing it in standard. So I'm just gonna look at it in standard here real quick and see if that helps me. I mean, it is pretty significantly out of spec. It's pretty friggin' tight. It's almost half. So it would make sense that it makes, so if it's 0.006 and I need it to be 0.009, you would just add 0.003 to that. The problem is I may have done my math wrong here too because it's in metric and it's fucking screwing with me. 0.006 times 25.4. Which I didn't. Oh, okay. I figured it out. All right. So here's what it is. All right. Reset. This is our clearance. This is where we need it to be. So we're going to do this here. 0.24. Shit. We're going to do 0.24 minus 0.152. That is our difference. So now we have 0.088. Now we are going to subtract this from our current shim, and that's what our new shim should be. So 1.75. So I was doing it right. I was just missing a step. Minus 1.75 minus 0.088. 1.62. So we subtracted this from this. That's 1.662. And you're going to end up rounding with some of this. That is what our new shim should be. So 1.66. So now let's do this. Now what we should do is we should be able to add our shim to our current, add what we need for the new shim to the current valve lash, and it should equal our spec. So let's see if I did that right. So our current valve lash measurement, 0.152, plus what we think our new shim should be. Hold on. Nope, and I still fucked it up. God damn it, man. Oh, it's irritating as shit. I fucking know I did. I know. That's our current spec. That's our current shim. That's what it should be. And so if we subtract, God damn. If we subtract what we currently have, 2, 4, or no, if we subtract what we currently have from what our spec should be, that should be what we need to increase it. We need to increase the valve lash by that. So if we then subtract that, from what our current shim is, we should get that's what we think our shim should be. And then if we add that shim to our current spec, we should get the minimum clearance, but that's not how it's working out right now. It's fucking with me. That's frustrating. 3RZ FE intake spec 0.008.2 V's clearance shrinks. I lean towards 0.012 minus 0.006 x equals out 0.006, then convert to metric. Then there's the fun of shims that are close and not equal. Yeah. So I'm just gonna fucking do this in standard and see if I come up with something. This is retarded. Like I should be able to just look. I should be able to do this in metric and be able to get it, but I'm just so used to thinking I'm not doing something right here. It's really fucking frustrating. 0.01. That's our spec standard for the intake. .13 to 0.1. No. 0.0051. That's thousandths of an inch. Yes. Okay, so I'm just going to go with the thousandths of an inch. 0.006. 0.0094. Something I didn't do in my, and we need to increase this. Let's just, for argument's sake, put it right in the center of 0.0. Let's just say, for argument's sake, we want 0.01 thousandths of an inch. So we need to go from 6 thousandths to, what was that, 100ths? Honestly, I don't remember what the fuck I did. It turned out right. So yeah. The problem is I'm live streaming and trying to do it in metric when I've never done it in metric before. So basically, I need to increase my valve clearance by 0.004 of an inch. So I need to add I need to subtract 0.004 of an inch from my current shim. So 0.004 times 25.4 is 0.1 millimeters. So I would need a 1.65. So I had the number there. I had it right. Whatever I fucking did in metric, I had it right. Once I figured out the shim thickness I need, then I did the conversion, went through the same thing you are. So I have this right here because we're subtracting. So 1.66. So why is my clearance not adding up? So I'm just trying to do the math here to make sure it's right. So if I did a 1.66 shim, that's removing that 0.1, that's making it bigger. I'm just trying to do the math to add it up to where it finally equals the spec. So if I did a 1.66 shim times, I would divide that by 25.4 to get what's in thousandths of an inch. That's a 0.0. That's a Oh. Yeah. So if I did a 1.66 shim times, 1.66 millimeter shim divided by 25.4, that gets me my thousandths of an inch. That's 0.0, we're going to round up that to 0.07. So that's a 0.07 shim. And you would, no, because we're not trying to get to zero lash. Okay. I figured it out though. So the other video is, I'm just thinking about this too hard. I'm trying to add it up to get to, I was trying to add the lash and everything back to it to get a number, but it wasn't, I was screwing up there. But basically, you want to figure out look at your current clearance and then look at your spec, and the difference between those two is what you need to remove from your current shim. And you'll have to do and that's, forget that. That's basically what I did here. So is I took the difference, which is 0.004 of an inch difference between what I have and what the what the spec should be, and then that's 4 thousandths of an inch. You need to do the conversion and remove that from your current shim to increase the clearance. And basically the 4 thousandths of an inch turned out to be, 0.1 that I removed to get that the right, that's in millimeters, the right size shim there. And then that's the shim you go back with. And then you put it all together, and then you get to measure it again. Fuck, goddamn, that was a dumpster fire. Holy shit. Made that way more complicated than it needed to be. Oh my God. So anyway, but Pitchfork, yeah, you're a seasoned mechanic, you know how to do all this shit. So I'm just autistically going into detail right now for no reason. And I will link that other video. But anyway, it's fucking late. Oh my God. What the hell am I even doing right now? It's going to be a snow day tomorrow. No, I don't. Not really. I'll link that series of videos in the comments of this live stream, so you can go watch it. I'll link part 1, and then you can go to his channel and look at part 2. But yeah, I'm okay at math, but I start thinking way too complicated in it. You can see I got the number. You can see I got the number, but then I started thinking way too hard about it, trying to add it up to get another number that I thought I should have, but I don't really need to have that. I already found it. I was just started thinking way too hard about it. So yeah, I mean, that said, you can probably tell by now, this is going to be the most critical part of it, that you make sure you get it. You want to get this right. And then, of course, you're going to need to remeasure everything once you put it back together. And tomorrow's a snow day, so I'm going to fucking go eat and go to bed and do this math tomorrow, because I just confused the hell out of myself. I'm going to forget all this, reset, and go redo it again later. I didn't go to school for this. I learned the hard way. I do this stuff the same way you are. I just open my service manual, look at specs. Yeah. All right. I appreciate it, Pitchfork. Thanks, man. And I guess Jack A, I guess you're probably the only other person that's still watching this fucking dumpster fire. Will you get the shims from the Kawi dealer? Maybe. That's always an option. They seem to take way too long to order shims and stuff like that. God damn, man, I can't believe you two sat through this fucking dumpster fire part of this stream. That was fucking, oh man. So that's always an option. There are other suppliers. I may call our local shop A&R, because they carry some of this stuff in stock. So if they have it, I might get it from them. But Partzilla and Revzilla, Partzilla, you can get parts from them. There's also what is it? I have the sticker over here. Babbitt's Online. That's a good Kawasaki parts. That's Babbitt's Kawasaki Parts House. That's a good place to get some parts from. They had a couple of parts that some of the other places didn't. I don't know if they sell the shims though, but shops, the dealer, pretty sure you can order them from them. But anyway. Yeah. Anyway, guys. Yeah, I appreciate you watching. Anyway, I'm probably going to close this stream out now. I'm done for the night, but you can see, you keep everything organized. But basically once we're done with this, you're going to put, and I like to put the shim back on there first, put the bucket on it, then put the camshafts, and I'll do another stream showing putting it back together and that way you can know how to put it all back together precisely, get the timing lined up, and then make sure you how to tighten the cam caps down so you don't crack the cam caps or or break a camshaft, because that can happen. So anyway, but thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to close the stream out. And when I get back to when I have all the shims, which is probably going to be a week or two, then I'm going to I'll put up a community post when I'm going to stream it again, and then we'll continue from there. But anyway, I'm going to go to bed now. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.